The first sign came on a Tuesday morning. Scientists at the Lunar Observatory noticed something strange near Jupiter. Two massive objects had appeared out of nowhere. They were not asteroids or comets. They were ships. Alien ships. Admiral Tai Huan received the call while drinking his morning coffee. He was a man in his 50s with gray hair and steady hands. He had spent 30 years in Earth's defense forces. He had prepared for many threats. But not this one. Nobody had really prepared for this one. Within hours, the situation became clear. Two separate alien fleets had entered the solar system. They were enormous. Each fleet had dozens of massive warships. The ships glowed with strange lights and moved in ways that human technology could not explain. They were heading toward Earth. The military council met in an underground bunker. Captain Minji was there. She was a tactical officer known for creative thinking. Dr. Hyunwoo attended via video link from his research facility. Commander Jiwon sat quietly, already working on intercepting alien communications. Ambassador Yuna joined them, hoping there might be a peaceful solution. The first alien fleet belonged to something called the Voric Empire. Their ships were dark and angular, covered in armor plating. They looked like floating fortresses. The second fleet came from the Keltar Dominion. Their vessels were sleeker, silver and elegant, but no less threatening. Both fleets stopped just beyond the moon and waited. Ambassador Yuna tried to make contact. She sent messages in every format Earth could produce. Radio waves, laser pulses, mathematical sequences. Anything that might show humanity wanted to talk. The Voric responded first. Their message was not friendly. A holographic image appeared in the council chamber. The Voric commander was tall and covered in dark scales. His eyes were cold. He looked at the humans like someone might look at insects. When he spoke, translation software converted his words into English. "Primitives," he said. "Your world belongs to the Voric Empire now. You use chemical rockets. You barely left your own planet. You are nothing. Surrender, and we might let some of you live as workers." The hologram vanished before Yuna could respond. Moments later, the Keltar sent their own message. No hologram this time, just text on a screen, cold and efficient. "Attention, primitive civilization. You are classified as Level 2 development. Insufficient for negotiation. Surrender within 48 hours. Resistance is illogical. Your technology is 400 years behind ours. Compliance will minimize casualties." The room fell silent. Admiral Tai Huan looked at each person present. These aliens had dismissed humanity without even studying them properly. They saw Earth's technology and assumed humans were helpless. They were wrong about that. Humans had something these aliens did not understand. Humans adapted. Humans survived. And humans fought dirty when they had to. "Captain Minji," Tai Huan said calmly, "tell me about our orbital defenses." Minji pulled up displays. Earth had defense satellites, railguns, missile platforms, laser arrays. Nothing compared to what those alien ships probably had. But it was something. "We have 47 active defense platforms, sir. Another 200 satellites that could be weaponized. Mining vessels that could be retrofitted. It's not much." "It's enough to hurt them," Tai Huan said. "They think we're primitive. They think we'll roll over. We need to make them bleed, make them pay for every inch." Dr. Hyunwoo leaned forward on the video screen. His hair was messy and his eyes were bright with ideas. "Admiral, I have something. The old nuclear missiles. We decommissioned them decades ago, but they still work. And I can modify mining charges. Turn them into weapons. Nothing fancy, but enough to damage alien hulls if we get close." Commander Jiwon spoke for the first time. Her voice was quiet but firm. "Sir, I'm intercepting communications between the two fleets. They're not allies. They're competing. The Voric and Keltar hate each other, both want Earth for themselves." Tai Huan smiled for the first time that day. "Good. Let them fight each other. Captain Minji, I want every pilot we have trained on guerrilla tactics. Small ships, hit-and-run attacks. We use the moon for cover, hide in Earth's shadow, make them work for this. The next 48 hours passed in a blur. Every defense platform was armed and ready. Civilian ships were evacuated from orbit. Mining vessels were loaded with makeshift weapons. Thousands of volunteers stepped forward to pilot them. Young Lieutenant Daehyun was one of them. He was only 26, fresh-faced and eager. He wanted to prove himself. Tai Hwan addressed the planet on live broadcast. His face appeared on every screen across Earth. "They call us primitive," he said. "They think we're nothing. They've already decided we lost, but they made one mistake. They underestimated us. Humans don't give up. We've survived ice ages and plagues and wars. We'll survive this too, and we'll make them remember the name Earth." The deadline arrived. Both alien fleets began moving toward Earth. The Vorik fleet came first, eager to claim their prize. Their massive dreadnoughts glowed with power, energy weapons charged with crackling light. They moved slowly, confidently. Why hurry? The primitives couldn't stop them anyway. The defense platforms opened fire. Railgun rounds streaked through space at incredible speed. Missiles launched in waves. Laser beams flashed across the darkness. For a moment, it looked impressive. Humanity's best weapon striking the alien fleet. Then the Vorik shields activated. Blue energy fields absorbed the impacts. Railgun rounds bounced off harmlessly. Missiles exploded before reaching their targets. Lasers scattered across the shields like light through water. The aliens hadn't even slowed down. The Vorik returned fire. Energy beams lanced out from their ships. The first defense platform exploded in a ball of fire. Then another, and another. In minutes, half of Earth's orbital defenses were gone. Debris rained down through the atmosphere, burning up like shooting stars. Inside the command center, alarms blared. Screens showed the losses mounting. But Tai Hwan remained calm. This was part of the plan. The defense platforms were never meant to win. They were meant to draw the aliens in deeper, closer to Earth, into the trap. "Captain Minji," he said quietly. "Give the order." Minji nodded and activated the comm system. "All shadow units, this is command. Execute Operation Darkside. I repeat, execute Operation Darkside." Behind the moon, hidden from the alien sensors, dozens of small ships powered up. They were mining vessels, cargo haulers, and old patrol craft. Nothing impressive, nothing that looked like a threat. But each one carried something special. Nuclear warheads, dirty bombs, experimental weapons that Dr. Hyunwoo had cobbled together. Lieutenant Daehyun sat in his cockpit, hands gripping the controls. His ship was a converted asteroid miner, slow and clumsy, but it was small enough to avoid the alien sensors, and it carried enough firepower to hurt them. "All units, this is Daehyun," he said over the squadron channel. "Stay tight, stay quiet. Wait for my signal, then we make them bleed." The Vorik fleet moved past the moon, closing in on the remaining defense platforms. They were confident, arrogant. They didn't even scan the moon's shadow properly. Why would they? The primitives had already shown their best weapons, and those weapons had failed. That arrogance would cost them everything. Daehyun watched his scanner carefully. The Vorik ships were close now, too close to turn back if things went wrong. His heart pounded in his chest. His mouth was dry, but his hands were steady on the controls. "Now," he whispered into the comm. "Hit them now." Dozens of small ships burst from the moon's shadow. They moved fast, engines burning at maximum power. The Vorik sensors finally detected them, but too late. Alarms blared across the alien fleet. But what could these tiny ships do? They were nothing but cargo haulers and mining equipment. Then the first warhead detonated. A nuclear explosion bloomed in the darkness of space. It struck a Vorik dreadnought directly on its reactor housing. The shields flickered and failed. The explosion tore through armor plating. Fire erupted from inside the massive ship. Secondary explosions followed. The dreadnought began to break apart. Daehyun grinned as he pulled his ship away from the blast. "One down. Keep moving. Don't let them target you." More human ships darted in. They moved unpredictably, weaving between the alien vessels. The Vorik tried to shoot them down, but their weapons were designed for big targets. The small human craft were too quick, too erratic. Another nuclear explosion, then another. Each one found a weak point. reactor cores, weapon systems, engine clusters. Inside the Vorik command ship, the commander roared in fury. How were these primitives hurting them? It was impossible. The scanners showed the human weapons were ancient, nuclear devices, technology the Vorik had abandoned centuries ago. But they were working. The primitives were using crude weapons in clever ways. Then everything got worse for the Vorik. The Keltar fleet, watching from a distance, saw their opportunity. The Vorik were distracted, damaged, vulnerable. The sleek silver ships of the Keltar Dominion surged forward, weapons charging. Precision laser beams lanced across space. They struck the Vorik fleet from behind. The Keltar didn't care about the humans. They wanted Earth for themselves. If the Vorik were weakened, then the Keltar would finish them off and claim the prize. The Vorik commander made a split-second decision. He divided his fleet. Half would continue fighting the humans. The other half would face the Keltar. It was a tactical error born from arrogance and anger. He was too proud to retreat from primitives, too proud to focus on one enemy at a time. In the Earth Command Center, Commander Jiwan was listening to everything. She had cracked the alien communication codes within hours. Now she heard the Vorik commanders arguing with each other. She heard the panic in their voices. They were scared. "Admiral," she said to Taiwan, "they're splitting their forces. The Vorik and Keltar are fighting each other now. This is exactly what we needed." Taiwan nodded. "Captain Minji, redirect all remaining defense platforms. Target the Vorik ships that are already damaged. Let's help the Keltar without them realizing it. Make both sides bleed." Earth's remaining weapons opened fire again, but this time they were selective. They only shot at wounded Vorik vessels, the ones that Daehyun's squadrons had already damaged. Railgun rounds punched through breached armor. Missiles found exposed reactor cores. The Vorik lost 3 more ships in quick succession. The Keltar AI systems analyzed the situation. The humans were helping them. Not intentionally, perhaps, but the effect was clear. The Vorik were being hit from multiple directions. The Keltar pressed their advantage, firing more intensely. Space near Earth became a chaotic battlefield. 3 forces fighting at once. Vorik ships tried to maintain formation while fighting on 2 fronts. Keltar vessels circled like predators, striking at weak points. Human craft darted through the chaos, small and deadly. Daehyun lost 6 pilots from his squadron. He watched their ships explode on his scanner. Good people, brave people. But there was no time to mourn. He led the survivors toward another target, a Vorik cruiser that was already burning. They delivered their payload and pulled away, just as the ship broke in half. "Regroup at Rally Point 3, Daehyun ordered. His voice was hoarse from shouting. His ship was damaged, warning lights flashing on every panel. But he was still alive, still fighting. The Vorik commander finally accepted reality. He couldn't win this battle. Not against both enemies. Not today. He gave the order to retreat. The remaining Vorik ships turned and accelerated away from Earth. They limped back toward the outer solar system, trailing debris and atmosphere from hull breaches. The Keltar fleet moved to pursue them, but then stopped. Their AI calculated that chasing the Vorik would leave them vulnerable to the humans. Better to secure Earth first, deal with the primitives, then finish off the Vorik later. The Keltar ships turned their attention to Earth. Targeting sensors locked onto the remaining defense platforms. Weapons charged. This time there would be no mercy. The Keltar had seen what these primitives could do. They were more dangerous than expected, but still manageable, still inferior. "Attention, human forces," came the emotionless Keltar transmission. "You have demonstrated surprising capability. Our calculations were incorrect. However, resistance is still futile. You have expended your nuclear weapons. Your orbital defenses are nearly destroyed. Surrender now and casualties will be minimized." Admiral Taehwan looked at the displays. Earth had lost a lot. Most of the defense platforms were gone. Dozens of pilots had died. The Vorik were retreating, but the Keltar were still here, still strong. Their fleet had barely been scratched. But Taehwan smiled anyway. "They still don't understand," he said quietly. "They think we're done. They think we showed them everything." Dr. Hyunwoo appeared on the screen again. He looked exhausted, but excited. "Admiral, I've been analyzing the debris from the Vorik ships. I found something. Their shields operate on a specific frequency. If we adjust our lasers to match that frequency, we can overload them. It won't be easy, but it's possible." Captain Minji leaned forward. "How long do you need?" 6 hours, maybe 8. I need to reprogram every laser array we have left. Taejuan looked at the Keltar fleet on his display. They were holding position, probably repairing damage and analyzing the battle. "You have 4 hours, Doctor. Captain Minji, I want every trick we have ready. Mines, drones, everything. Commander Jiwon, keep listening to their communications. Find me a weakness." The command center buzzed with activity. Everyone moved with purpose. They had hurt one enemy and driven them away. Now they had to face the second. The Keltar were smarter than the Vorik, more careful. But they had made the same mistake. They still thought humans were primitive. Daehyun landed his damaged ship on a military base. Ground crews swarmed over it, making repairs. A medic tried to check him for injuries, but he waved them away. He had to get back up there. His friends had died in space. He owed it to them to keep fighting. A young pilot approached him. She was barely 20, fresh from training. "Sir," she said nervously, "is it true? Did we really make them run away?" Daehyun looked at her. He saw the fear in her eyes, but also the determination. "Yes," he said. "We did, and we'll do it again. They think we're nothing. Let's prove them wrong." In orbit, the Keltar fleet waited. Their AI systems ran calculations, updated threat assessments, analyzed human tactics. The primitives were more resourceful than anticipated, more willing to sacrifice themselves, more unpredictable. But the Keltar had advantages: better shields, superior weapons, faster ships. The AI came to a logical conclusion. Humans were dangerous because they were irrational. They took risks that made no sense. They valued individuals over the collective. These were weaknesses. The Keltar would exploit them. Victory was still probable, just more costly than initially calculated. But what the Keltar AI did not understand was that humans were not irrational. They were adaptive. Every battle taught them something new. Every loss made them more determined. And their willingness to take risks was not a weakness. It was their greatest strength. The second battle was about to begin, and this time the humans were ready. Dr. Hyunwoo worked through the night. His team moved between damaged defense platforms, installing new equipment. The modifications were crude but effective. They changed the frequency of every laser array that still functioned. If the calculations were correct, these lasers could now penetrate Keltar shields. If, that word bothered him. Everything depended on theory and guesswork. They only had scraps of alien technology to study. A few pieces of hull metal, some burnt circuit boards, but Hyunwoo had no choice. He had to make it work. Too many people were counting on him. Meanwhile, Commander Jiwon sat in a dark room filled with screens. She was listening to Keltar transmissions. The aliens spoke in mathematical codes and precise language. Their communications were efficient and emotionless. But that efficiency revealed patterns, weaknesses. She discovered something interesting. The Keltar fleet used networked AI systems. Every ship was connected to every other ship. They shared data constantly, coordinated perfectly. It made them incredibly efficient. But it also meant that if one system was compromised, the infection could spread to all of them. Jiwon called Taejuan.
"Admiral, I have an idea, a virus."
"If we can get it into their network, it might disrupt their coordination, make them vulnerable. How do we deliver it?" Taejuan asked. "We let them hack us first. They're already trying to infiltrate our systems. We let one probe succeed, but we plant the virus inside our own data. When they steal it, they infect themselves. It was risky. Letting the enemy into Earth's computer systems could backfire badly." But Taejuan trusted Jiwon. "Do it," he said. Captain Minji was coordinating the defense on multiple fronts. She had positioned what was left of Earth's forces in unexpected places. Small drone swarms hiding in debris fields, mines disguised as wreckage. Even civilian satellites had been turned into weapons. Everything was ready. The Keltar fleet began to move. They advanced slowly, scanning everything, looking for traps. Their AI systems had learned from watching the Vorik defeat. They would not make the same mistakes. They would be careful. Earth's modified laser arrays opened fire. Beams of concentrated light struck Keltar shields. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the shields began to flicker. The frequency match was working. Not perfectly, but enough. Some of the laser energy was getting through. The Keltar ships adjusted their shield frequencies to compensate, but that took time. And while they were adjusting, the lasers were doing damage, scoring marks on their pristine silver hulls. The aliens had expected their shields to hold. They had not prepared for this. Then the drone swarms attacked. Thousands of small flying machines emerged from hiding. Each one was barely larger than a bird. Each carried a small explosive. Individually, they were harmless. Together, they were deadly. The drones swarmed over the Keltar ships like angry insects. The alien point defense systems shot them down by the hundreds, but there were too many. For every drone destroyed, 3 more got through. They crashed into sensor arrays, weapon ports, engine vents. Small explosions rippled across the alien hulls. The Keltar AI systems tried to adapt, calculate new defensive patterns, optimize firing solutions, but the drones moved erratically, unpredictably. The AI could not predict chaos. It could not calculate insanity. And to the logical Keltar mind, these human tactics seemed insane. Daehyun launched again with a new squadron. His ship was barely repaired, but it could fly. That was enough. He led his pilots straight into the confusion around the Keltar fleet. They fired missiles at damaged sections, dropped mines in the aliens' path, then vanished into the chaos before the Keltar could target them properly. "They're adapting," one of his pilots shouted. "The AI is learning our patterns." "Then don't have patterns," Daehyun shot back. "Be random. Do things that don't make sense. Confuse them." The human pilots obeyed. They flew in ways that violated all training, made turns that served no tactical purpose, attacked from angles that seemed stupid, and it worked. The Keltar AI could not predict irrationality. Every time it calculated where a human ship would go, the ship went somewhere else. Then Jiwon's virus activated. The Keltar had successfully hacked into Earth's defense network. They thought they had stolen valuable data about human capabilities. But hidden in that data was the virus. It spread through the Keltar network like wildfire. Suddenly, Keltar ships began receiving conflicting orders. Sensors showed targets that did not exist. Weapon systems aimed at friendly ships. Communication between vessels became garbled and confused. The perfect coordination of the Keltar fleet fell apart in minutes. One Keltar ship fired on another by mistake. The damaged vessel returned fire automatically. Within seconds, 3 Keltar ships were fighting each other. Their AI systems tried to restore order, but the virus corrupted every attempt. Logic loops formed. Error cascades spread. The thinking machines were destroying themselves. Admiral Taihwan watched the chaos unfold. Part of him felt satisfaction. The plan was working, but part of him felt something else. These aliens had dismissed humanity as primitive, had come to conquer Earth without hesitation. Now they were dying. Was it right to feel bad about that? He decided it was not. They had started this war. Humans were just finishing it. "All forces, press the attack," he ordered. "Don't give them time to recover." Earth's forces attacked with everything they had left. Modified lasers burned through weakened shields. Missiles found confused targets. Daehyun's squadron struck at command ships while their systems were failing. The Keltar fleet, so precise and efficient before, was now a disorganized mess. But the battle was not won yet. The Keltar were damaged and confused, but they still had powerful weapons. A Keltar destroyer, its AI system partially functional, locked onto Earth itself, its main weapon charged. A massive energy beam that could burn away a city in seconds. Captain Minji saw it happening. "Admiral, they're targeting New York. The beam will fire in 30 seconds. There was no time for clever tactics. No time for plans. Taehwan made a decision instantly. "All remaining platforms, target that destroyer. Everything we have, now." Every weapon Earth had left opened fire on that single ship. Lasers, missiles, railgun rounds. Even the damaged platforms that could barely aim. All of it converging on one target. The Keltar destroyer's shields flared bright, absorbing incredible punishment. But there was too much. Too much damage coming too fast. The shields failed. Weapons fire tore into the destroyer's hull. The charging beam weapon exploded before it could fire. The entire ship erupted in a ball of white-hot plasma. The shockwave damaged 2 nearby Keltar vessels. New York was safe. But that attack had cost Earth its last reserve of ammunition. The remaining defense platforms were now completely empty. If the Keltar regained control and pressed the attack, humanity had nothing left to stop them. For a long moment, everything was still. Both sides battered. Both sides exhausted. Then the Keltar fleet began to withdraw. Slowly at first, then faster. Their AI systems had finally calculated the truth. This battle could not be won, not against an enemy this unpredictable, not at this cost. The silver ships turned and accelerated away from Earth. They left behind wreckage and the bodies of their dead. They had come expecting easy conquest. They were leaving defeated and confused. The primitives had won again, but far away beyond Mars the Voric fleet was watching. They had repaired their damage, reinforced their numbers, and they were angry, very angry. Earth had 3 days of peace, 3 days to repair what could be repaired, 3 days to count the dead and prepare for what came next, because everyone knew the Voric would return, and this time they would bring everything they had. Admiral Taejuan stood in what remained of the command center. Half the screens were dark. Cables hung from the ceiling where explosions had damaged the structure. But it still functioned. That was what mattered. Humans were good at making broken things work. "Report," he said quietly. Captain Minji pulled up what data she had. "We have almost no orbital defenses left. Maybe a dozen platforms still functioning. We're out of missiles, out of nuclear warheads. The modified lasers worked once, but the Voric will have adapted by now. What do we have?" Taejuan asked. "People," Minji said simply. "Thousands of volunteers. Civilian ships, mining equipment, and desperation." Taejuan nodded. Desperation. That was more powerful than any weapon. Desperate people did impossible things. He had seen it twice now. Maybe they could do it again. Dr. Hyun-woo had been salvaging alien technology from the wreckage, studying it, learning from it. "Admiral," he said over the comm, "I found something. The Voric ships run on antimatter reactors, incredibly powerful, incredibly unstable. If we could overload one, it would destroy everything nearby." Taejuan finished. "How do we overload it?" "We'd need to get someone inside an enemy ship. Plant a device directly on the reactor, and get out before it explodes, which would be about 30 seconds. Silence filled the command center. It was a suicide mission. Everyone knew it. But Taejuan also knew that someone would volunteer anyway. Humans always did. Commander Jiwon had different news. "Admiral, the Voric and Keltar are communicating with each other. Both fleets suffered heavy losses. They're angry. But more than that, they're scared. Their home governments are demanding explanations. How did primitives hurt them so badly? Are they coordinating?" Taejuan asked. "That would be bad. 2 enemy fleets working together." "No," Jiwon said. "They still hate each other. But they both want revenge. The Voric are coming back with reinforcements. A full battle group. 27 ships against Earth's handful of damaged platforms and desperate volunteers. The math was simple. Humanity would lose, unless they changed the game entirely." Taejuan looked at his team. Minji exhausted but determined. Hyun-woo brilliant and half-crazy with sleep deprivation. Jiwon calm and analytical as always. And outside thousands of people who refused to give up, who believed Earth could win because the alternative was unthinkable. "We need to lure them," Taejuan said slowly. "Not to Earth, somewhere else. Somewhere we choose. Somewhere that gives us an advantage." "Where?" Minji asked. Taejuan pulled up a map of the solar system. His finger traced a path toward the center, toward the sun. "There," he said. "We have solar collectors in close orbit. Research stations studying solar radiation. What if we weaponize them?" Hyun-woo's eyes went wide. "Redirect concentrated solar energy. Focus it like a laser. The heat and radiation would overwhelm any shields, but we'd need to get them close enough. Really close. Then we bait the trap," Taejuan said. "We make them think we're finished, running, desperate. Lead them on a chase toward the sun, and when they get close enough, we burn them," Minji finished. She was smiling now. It was insane, risky, but it might work. That was very human. Taking an insane risk because it might work. The plan came together quickly. Earth would broadcast fake distress signals. Show the Voric that humanity was collapsing. That resistance was ending. then send ships fleeing toward the inner solar system. The Vorik would chase, eager to finish off the primitives once and for all, and the Keltar would probably follow, not wanting to miss out. Lieutenant Daehyun volunteered to lead the bait ships. Of course he did. Someone has to sell it, he said. Make it look real. I'm good at that. You'll be in extreme danger, Taehyun warned. The heat near the sun, the Vorik weapons. If you wait too long to pull out, Kui, I know, Daehyun said. But what's the alternative? Let them bombard Earth? No thanks. I'd rather take my chances with a star. The Vorik fleet arrived 4 days later. 27 ships, just as Jiwon had predicted. They were bigger than before, newer. Their weapons glowed with deadly energy. They had come prepared this time. Prepared to destroy Earth completely, the Vorik commander sent a transmission. Primitives, you have caused the Empire great shame. For that you will suffer. No surrender will be accepted. No mercy will be given. Your world will burn as punishment for your arrogance. Taehyun did not respond to the threat. Instead, he activated the plan. Earth's remaining ships powered up. They broadcast distress signals, panic, confusion. Then they began to flee, not toward deep space, not toward the outer planets, but inward, toward the sun. The Vorik sensors detected the fleeing ships. Their commander laughed.
They run!
Chase them down. Let none escape. The massive Vorik fleet pursued. Their ships were faster than the human vessels. They began gaining quickly. Weapons fired. A few human ships were hit, destroyed. That made the flight look more desperate, more real. The Keltar fleet, watching from a distance, calculated their options. The humans were fleeing. The Vorik were giving chase. This was an opportunity. If they followed, they could attack the Vorik while the enemy was distracted. Claim victory for themselves. The Keltar ships moved to intercept. Now both alien fleets were heading toward the inner solar system, chasing the fleeing humans, getting closer to the sun with every passing minute. The temperature began to rise. Radiation levels increased. But alien ships were built for this. They had powerful cooling systems, advanced shielding. The heat was uncomfortable but manageable. Daehyun watched his sensors carefully. His ship was shaking from the heat. Warning alarms screamed at him. The sun filled half his view now, a massive ball of fire, beautiful and terrifying. Just a little closer, just a little more. All ships, this is Daehyun. On my mark, full burn. Get out of here as fast as you can. Don't look back. The Vorik were close now, close enough to see the individual human ships on their scanners, close enough to guarantee kills. The Vorik commander targeted the lead ship, Daehyun's ship. He wanted to personally destroy the primitive who had embarrassed the Empire. Now, Daehyun shouted. The human ship suddenly changed direction. They burned their engines at maximum power, diving sideways away from the sun. At the same moment, dozens of solar collectors activated. They had been positioned in a ring around the star, waiting, watching. Now they fulfilled their purpose. Concentrated solar radiation lanced across space, massive beams of heat and light, more powerful than any weapon humanity could build. The collectors focused the sun's fury directly at the alien fleets. Both the Vorik and Keltar found themselves caught in a storm of fire, shields overloaded instantly. The energy was too much, too intense. Vorik armor plating began to melt. Keltar systems fried as electronics failed under extreme heat. Ships tried to turn away, but they were too close to the sun now. Gravity pulled at them. The star's fury consumed them, and then Admiral Taehyun gave the final order. All forces attack now. The trap was sprung. The attack was brutal and decisive. Human ships emerged from hiding spots throughout the inner solar system. They had been waiting there for days, positioned carefully. Now they struck at the trapped alien fleets with everything they had left. The Vorik ships were already damaged from the solar radiation. Their shields were down. Their systems were failing. They tried to return fire, but most of their weapons were offline. The ones that worked were too slow, too clumsy. The heat had warped their targeting systems. Daehyun led his squadron straight into the chaos. His ship was barely holding together. The heat shielding was cracked. The engines were running on backup power, but he could still fire weapons. That was all that mattered. Target the big ones first, he shouted to his pilots. The command ships, take them out and the rest will fall apart. Missiles struck the Vorik flagship. Explosions rippled across its massive hull. The ship tried to maneuver, but it was sluggish. Unresponsive, the heat had damaged its engines. It was a dying whale trying to swim. Human ships swarmed around it like sharks. The Keltar fleet was in even worse condition. Their advanced AI systems had tried to calculate a way out of the trap, but there was no logical solution. They were caught. The solar radiation was frying their electronics faster than they could repair them. Ships lost control and drifted into each other. Some fell toward the sun, pulled by gravity into an inevitable death. Admiral Tehuan watched from Earth. The displays showed the battle in real time. Two mighty alien fleets being torn apart, ships exploding, hulls breaking open, crews dying. He felt no joy at the sight, only grim satisfaction. This was justice. They had come to destroy Earth. Now they were paying the price. "Captain Minji," he said, "send the boarding teams. I want prisoners, and I want their technology. Everything we can salvage." Minji nodded and gave the orders. Small teams of Marines launched from hidden positions. They targeted ships that were damaged but not destroyed, boarded them while the aliens were still reeling. It was dangerous work. Some teams died when ships exploded unexpectedly, but others succeeded. They captured alien crew members and secured valuable equipment. The Vorik commander sat in his burning ship and realized the truth. They had lost. The primitives had beaten them. It was impossible, unthinkable, but it was happening. His empire would never forgive this failure. Better to die here than face that shame. He reached for the self-destruct controls, but before he could activate them, human Marines burst onto the bridge. They moved fast and efficient. Weapons ready. The Vorik commander tried to fight, but he was weak from radiation exposure. The humans subdued him easily. He was their prisoner now. Another humiliation. The battle lasted 6 more hours. By the end, both alien fleets were destroyed. A few ships managed to escape, fleeing back toward deep space, but most were gone, turned to wreckage. Floating dead in space near the sun, the solar collectors shut down, their job complete. Daehyun brought his squadron home. He had lost 12 pilots, good people who would never see Earth again. But they had won. Humanity had survived. He landed his broken ship and climbed out on shaking legs. Ground crew ran to help him. He waved them away and looked up at the sky. Somewhere up there, alien fleets had learned a hard lesson: never dismiss humanity. The weeks that followed were strange. Earth was battered but victorious. Cities began to rebuild. Orbital platforms were reconstructed using both human and alien technology. Dr. Hyunwoo's team worked day and night studying the captured alien equipment. Every piece taught them something new. Humanity's technology was advancing rapidly. Commander Ji-won interrogated the alien prisoners. She learned about galactic politics, about the mistake both empires had made. Their intelligence about Earth had been old, outdated. They had planned their invasion based on surveys from decades ago. They assumed humans were still primitive because they never bothered to check. That arrogance had destroyed them. "They're terrified," Ji-won reported to Taiwan. "Both the Vorik and Keltar prisoners. They can't understand how we beat them. To them, it's like losing to children. Their entire worldview has been shattered." "Good," Taehuan said. "Let them be afraid. Let them tell their governments what happened here. Maybe it will make the next aliens think twice before attacking Earth." News of the battle spread across the galaxy. At first, nobody believed it. Humans were supposed to be primitive, level 2 development at best. They couldn't possibly defeat advanced fleets. But the evidence was undeniable. The Vorik and Keltar confirmed the losses. Survivors told their stories. Slowly, the truth became accepted. Ambassador Yuna suddenly found herself very busy. Alien civilizations that had ignored Earth's existence were now sending diplomatic messages. Some offered trade agreements. Others proposed alliances. A few sent threats, but those were half-hearted. Everyone had heard what happened to the last aliens who threatened Earth. The Galactic Council, a governing body of advanced civilizations, sent an invitation. They wanted Earth to join, to take a seat at the table, to be recognized as a legitimate spacefaring species. It was everything humanity had wanted: recognition, respect, a place among the stars. Yuna traveled to the Council's headquarters on a distant world. She stood before representatives of 100 alien species. Some looked like her. Others were utterly strange. But all of them watched her carefully, wondering what this human would say. "Thank you for this invitation," Yuna began. Earth accepts its place in the galactic community. We look forward to peaceful cooperation and mutual benefit, but I want to make something very clear. We did not ask for war. We tried diplomacy first. The Vorik and Keltar dismissed us, called us primitive, attacked us without provocation. She paused and looked around the chamber. They learned a hard lesson. Technology alone does not determine strength. Humanity survived because we adapted, because we refused to give up, because we valued every life and fought for our home. These traits are not unique to humans. Many species have them. Any civilization that forgets this, any civilization that dismisses others as primitive, they will meet the same fate as the Vorik and Keltar. The chamber was silent. Some aliens nodded in agreement. Others looked uncomfortable. The message was clear. Earth was not asking for respect. Earth had earned it. And Earth would defend itself against anyone who forgot that. Back on Earth, life slowly returned to normal. Children went back to school. People returned to work. But everything was different now. Humanity knew it was not alone in the universe, knew there were threats out there, but also knew that humans could face those threats and survive. Admiral Tehuan was promoted to command Earth's new space defense force, a proper military now. With real ships, real weapons, built from a combination of human innovation and alien technology, he stood on the bridge of Earth's first true warship, a vessel that could travel between stars, that could defend humanity anywhere in the galaxy. Captain Minji wrote a book about the war, about the tactics that had worked, the strategies that had saved Earth. Military academies across multiple alien civilizations requested copies. Everyone wanted to learn from the humans, to understand how the primitives had won. Dr. Hyunwoo opened a research institute, a place where human and alien scientists could work together, share knowledge, learn from each other. He was happy, finally able to study alien technology legally instead of scraping it from wreckage. Lieutenant Daehyun became an instructor, teaching new pilots how to fly, how to fight. He told them stories about the war, about the friends he had lost, about the importance of never giving up. His students listened carefully. They knew they might face war again someday, but they also knew that humans could win. Commander Jiwon continued her work in intelligence, watching the galaxy, listening to alien communications, making sure Earth would never be caught by surprise again. She was good at her job. Very good. Some alien governments complained that human intelligence was too effective. She took that as a compliment. Years passed. Earth built more ships, established colonies on other worlds, made allies among the stars. But humanity never forgot the lesson of the war, never forgot what happened when others dismissed them as primitive. That memory kept them strong, kept them ready, kept them human, and across the galaxy the story of Earth spread. The planet that had crushed two armadas, the primitives who had defeated empires. It became a legend, a warning, a reminder that technology was not everything, that adaptability and determination and refusal to surrender could overcome any advantage. The galaxy would never dismiss humanity again. They had learned their lesson. Humans were not primitive. They were survivors, fighters, builders, and the stars themselves would remember. The end.